Some people say when they really fall in love, they finally understand poetry, and Valentine's Day, and Lionel Richie. Aww. This podcast is the complete opposite of that. This is Funny People Talking.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Funny People Talking. I'm one of your hosts, Marc, and with me, really, as always, so far, is Mademoiselle Danielle.
Mademoiselle Danielle. Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle Beckman. Marc, I release you from that nickname.
Oh, my God, thank God.
It's really long and really French.
I can't keep it. It's long and French.
So you're released.
Okay, that sounds dirty. I don't know. So, anywho,
welcome.
Welcome to the show, everybody. And with us, of course, is our producer, Elsie. Hi, Elsie.
Hi.
How you feeling today?
All right.
All right. Anyway, exciting show we have today. We've got a very, very cool cat. His name is Jason Carrion. He is a reality TV star, a bona fide real wrestling pro, and a New York City firefighter to boot. I promise you, the guy's very cool. And wait till you hear how I met him. That's all coming up in a few minutes. But before, and we're going to play a lot of improv. And of course, end of show food from Elsie and lots more craziness in this episode. But first, I do have a question for Danielle.
Here it goes.
Danielle. I'm always going to have a question for you every time, Danielle.
Oh, I'm excited.
It's part of it. I need to understand.
Yeah.
I noticed when you were coming in, you were doing, I don't know if it's salsa, flamenco, some sort of dance, and really in outside of our studio, by the way, is an office area. And I felt you were trying to get to know pretty much everyone in the office through dance. So my question is, why are you dancing everywhere? Something up? Are you in a good mood? What's going on?
Do you know what's really funny is that I signed up for a salsa class last week.
Of course you did.
Okay. I show up, right? Because I'm jonesing for salsa. I want to dance the salsa, okay? Because it's different than the cha-cha. It's different from the merengue. What's the salsa about? So I show up, Marc, it's a salsa making class. We were chopping tomatoes. We were getting cilantro. We were squeezing the limes. And I'm like, are you kidding?
That's unfair. That is an unfair use of the word salsa to have both. The advertising was not clear.
No, well,
did it say
maybe.
Like dance your way into the world of salsa, but they were talking about the food?
No, there was like a pun on guacamole, and I don't think I read it close enough.
And you're like, oh, it's all Latin. It's
So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna cry as I chop these onions. I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna do my little lime wedge, make the thing. I made a really good batch, by the way. It was kind of like emulsified. It was really good. Anyway, and so then I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to practice my own salsa on the street. So I was salsaing my way here. That's what you saw.
Okay, and then everyone in the office got some guacamole?
Yeah, no, they got my dance. They got my salsa dance.
Your salsa dance.
Yeah, because you know what? I was like, you know what? If I can't find a class, I'm going to make it up on my own.
That's right. Determine your own destiny.
Yeah. So now I'm going to ask a good friend of mine is a dance teacher, and I'm going to just go straight to the source because that was embarrassing.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, sorry to hear about that, but I'm glad that you found your own path. You danced to your own path.
I did, and it was embarrassing but delicious.
Okay. As everything in life should be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Coming up, let me tell you something, Danielle. You have no idea what's coming your way this show.
Oh my God.
It's really true.
Okay.
After your nerd tip or whatever you're going to do about nerds today.
Yes.
I've got to tell you about the subway pointer who scared the freaking life out of me. I'm going to tell you, inspired by Jason's story about, did I tell you that I'm getting married?
You know what? I may have heard you're getting married, and I'm super excited.
You may have heard.
A birdie
you're like dancing
may
on
have
the
told
street
me.
and someone's like, go, hey, Jer! some like town crier with a bell just going, hear ye!
No, I may have heard that way.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you my engagement story.
Oh, I
because
was okay.
think,
See, I know. I want to hear that
because when you hear if you don't know how Jason got married, technically no real engagement.
That's wild. Wow.
It may be interesting in contrast to hear what my story was, which is more or less the complete opposite of that. So, I am going to tell you about how Jason and I met, which involves a fight. And I also want to get an update on Elsie's cat.
Yeah, I've been thinking about her cat this week.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Well, because we're going to get an update.
Great.
All right. And then, of course, we will have a journey through the story of Mr. Jason Carrion. That's all coming up right after this. But first, Danielle.
Yes.
Do you have a nerd tip for us?
I do. I have a segment called Nerd Knocks.
Nerd Knocks. I like it.
All right, ready? So, knock, knock.
Sound effects. It's an audio podcast. I love it. Who's there?
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty who?
Rick and Morty McFly. See, you weren't expecting that, right? Because did you know, Marc, that the title characters of Rick and Morty are based on the main characters from the co-creator Justin Roiland's animated short, The Real Animated Adventures of Doc and Marty, which was based on Doc Brown and Marty McFly from Back to the Future. Great Scott. One disclaimer, though. The animated short is a little bit raunchy, so just beware. But I thought that was kind of cool.
It is. I swear to you, there's no way I could have known that was the punchline of that joke.
I know. I got to work on the punchline, but I wanted to,
We'll give you a second try at the punchline.
No, I don't have.
We don't want to go back.
No.
You don't want to go back to the future?
There it is. See, there it is.
All right, tell me to start the show, Danielle.
Marc.
What?
I think you should start the show.
Okay.
All right.
From the Mouth Media Network studios in New York City, and from the same people who brought you Monkey Radio with Marc, this is Funny People Talking with Marc Rako, Danielle Beckman, and Elsie.
All right, everybody. So we are here with Jason Carrion, and we're going to get to his story in a minute. But I got to get this off my chest. The weirdest thing happened last night. I'm on the subway, and this man starts walking by, and I kind of get the idea he's homeless.
Okay.
And I'm really interested to know what you think about this, because I kind of I don't know if you believe in signs. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you think well, let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
So I'm walking there, and this man's kind of making his way through the subway and car, and he's like, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. Excuse me." And I assume he's homeless and going to beg through the cars, or he's meeting his perhaps his drug client in another car, or
who knows?
Who knows why he's traveling from car to car. He walks past me. He stops dead in his tracks. Turns to me, comes up to me, points his finger right in my face, and says, "One more effing time, said the Lord our God." And then his face was brimming. His eyes were wide. It was so intense, and his fingers shaking. And I half expected to hear a roll of thunder like 2 seconds later. And the subway came to the platform, and I immediately exited the train car because I was not staying there anymore. And
wow.
I must be honest, I'm not a particularly religious person. I'm not it's not like I go, "Oh my God, God spoke to me," but it freaked me out.
Right.
And so I kept thinking about, what does this mean? What does this mean? So I don't know if this is what it meant, but
okay.
But today, so I have 3 friends in my life. It's so sad. I only have 3. I have 3 friends in my life.
Are they all in this room?
That had all in my head. You're funny. People ghost you. Like I don't know if that's ever happened to any of you people, but you know, and it's like all of a sudden they just disappear from your life. Perfectly good friendship going on. All of a sudden you never hear from them again. And you're like, what happened? Did I say something? Did they do something? Did they get killed? Did they, what happened? What happened? And you know, I don't want to be like it's all about me or anything, but I'm insane about finding out what happened, you know, because I don't want it to happen again. Well, I had 3 very, very close friends of mine that all kind of ghosted over the last several years, inexplicably, and they would never like contact me back in any way. And I do feel generally I'm a pretty well-regarded friend. Like my friends are comfortable with who I am. I don't know. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. But
no, it is true. I'm your friend.
Thank you, Danielle. High five on that, my friend.
Oh,
all right. So recently I called up a friend that I literally have not talked to in 4 or 5 years. He disappeared immediately. And just on a lark, I called him in the park and he picked up the phone. I find out he's moved to another state.
Oh my goodness.
It wasn't like a warm, fuzzy conversation, but it was a comfortable conversation and it was just a sense of closure for me. So I was like, oh, hey, how about that? So then like a couple days later, I find out that another friend of mine's daughter got married.
Oh, wow.
But I haven't talked to him in years and we were very, very close. Like this one freaked me out a little bit. So I texted him, I said, congratulations on your daughters. And you have to understand that many times I've tried to get a hold of him. I texted him, congratulated on his daughter's wedding. He texted me back. And it turns out that day he was blocks from me.
Whoa.
Or like the next day he was going to be blocks from me in the city. Doesn't even live in New York City. We weren't able to connect, but we will see each other. And I feel that relationship never really went anywhere. And he admitted he had really kind of not paid attention to his friends for a long period of time because of things busy in his life.
Yeah, things ebb and flow.
Right.
Wow.
So today, now remember, okay, I'm going back to the guy who pointed in my face last night. One more time. So I had one friend out of the ghosting that was missing.
Yeah.
And today I ran out for 10 minutes right before this recording, by the way.
Wow.
Ran out to the bank to go get some money and go get a haircut. I literally had 10 minutes to do that. I walked right past the third friend that I haven't seen in months and months. I haven't heard from him, can't get a hold of him, don't know what's going on. Walked right past him. I stopped him. It turns out that he had just lost his phone and didn't have any of the contact information and didn't receive any of the communication that I tried to reach out.
Wow.
So I'm wondering if this had to do with the guy that pointed in my face and said, one more time.
Yeah. What was the quote again? One more time.
One more effing time, says the Lord our God, something like that.
Okay.
So,
well,
I don't assume, by the way, that God is like going, got to reconnect Mark with his friends. So, let me set some time aside.
Here's what I'll say. I have read a lot of the Bible, and I have to say that that's not a verse. That's not a quote in the Bible.
Okay.
But I love this guy's sense of humor. He's got stuff going on.
It's a joke.
He's jumping from subway to subway. He's quoting someone, maybe not God.
Does
but
he finish with somebody who's like, "Oh my God, I'm so on tonight."
And yeah, he's calling it out. He's like a fortune teller. No, but what I will say is that it sounds like that moment was so shocking that somewhere in your mind it got you thinking. Just, when we get perspective shifts, it's like, whoa, who are you? It's a little shocking, right? And then the fact that these 3 friends were reconnected all within the same, 48 hours?
Yeah. Within a week, yeah.
That within a week. I mean, that's just, I think that's really cool.
Well, but one set
it's cool. I don't know
set
what
another
it means.
one off a little bit because it made me call someone I hadn't talked to a long time.
Right. And maybe that set everything in motion.
Yeah.
Gasp.
I know.
No, you know what, Mark? You're speaking to someone who runs into people every single day of her life. That's me. And I make a list in my phone of all the people I run into because I run into someone every single day to the point where my friends say I could run for office. They're like, Danielle, you know everyone. I don't know
You're the mayor.
how. I am the mayor. Someone said I should run for
school board,
whatever, Carroll Gardens area.
Oh yeah,
school board. Yeah, PS whatever. Yeah. I don't know. PS 98, is that a thing?
What do you call that? Elsie? Someone that's in like the local, politics.
council member.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
See, I told you she'd know.
She does know politics.
She does know politics. You are an expert in politics. I'm going to move on right now because we have Jason Carrion here. And Jason, I would love to hear, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, honestly. I would love to hear your rendition of what you remember. And full disclosure, Jason and I are friends, but we are not like tight hangout friends. We are acquaintances, I would say. Although I'm really happy to hang with you right now. But from what you recall, what do you recall about how we even met? Because in my mind, it's a mildly interesting story.
I mean, this is going to sound like you don't normally meet people like this, but I do remember a bottle being broken over somebody's head and me falling really hard on the concrete floor. One of those two things did happen.
I think something like that happened.
Yeah, something within a little bit of rendition, but I'm pretty much sure like I was a little bit hurt afterwards.
Okay. So what happened was, and this will help introduce how Jason has kind of come into the public eye a little bit. If you don't know, Jason is one of the original stars of the, is it WeTV?
Now it's on Lifetime.
It's on Lifetime. How about that? Yeah. So on the Lifetime reality TV series, Married at First Sight. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the few couples on the very first season. And him and his now wife, Courtney, who on my previous podcast, Monkey Radio, I had the chance to interview Courtney and hear her story. But Jason and Courtney had just gotten married and the series had not come out yet. And they were filming the reality show. And one of the things that Courtney was into, at least at that time, was burlesque dancing. Burlesque performing, I guess, is more of the way part of a burlesque group, singing and dancing and so forth. And they had a really interesting speakeasy themed performance that she was participating in. And they needed some extras, if you will, for a big fight scene, a big, a lot of different characters, mobster kind of characters.
That's cool.
And my part that I've been asked to do, because I had a friend who was one of the members of the burlesque group and we had been in a play together and she had asked me to come and join in. And I had no idea, by the way, that they were doing a reality TV series that showed up and there were all these cameras and I'm like, what is going on? And by the way, I gave the producer of the reality show a very hard time about signing the release.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Funny.
I wasn't trying to be a jerk, but I'm like, why should I let you do this? I didn't agree to come and be filmed. So what's in it for me to help you make your for-profit TV series? You know what I'm saying?
It's your reality TV debut, Mark. That's what they wanted.
Is it? Is it?
Maybe. Where's the contract?
I've had a couple instances like that, by the way. Yeah. I walked down the street one time and apparently just because they were shooting in the street, I was in the shot.
Yeah.
Not like in the shot. They were purposely shooting where people walking by. So I walked by and I kind of looked back and I'm like, what's this stupid reality thing they're shooting? Unrelated to Jason, the thing we were doing.
It wasn't my stupid reality.
It wasn't your stupid reality. And it was like a game show thing or something. And some PA or producer chased me down to try to get me to sign a release. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, they can blur your face.
Yeah, they can blur my face. I'm not going to get paid. I said, am I going to get paid? No, then no. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just like, I'm a professional performer.
Exactly. You got to draw the line.
And just because I happen to be on the block that you're half blocking and I had to walk around you, I'm supposed to give you my likeness so you can. No, that's how I feel about it. And maybe I'm a jerk. But anyway.
You got to keep something private. I understand.
So back to this reality TV show, burlesque thing and all that stuff. So Jason and I had a little bit we were supposed to do together. And there's this sort of argument we have or something. And then we get into a carefully choreographed fight. I would like to point out that Jason is a professional wrestler. I am not. I was very outmatched. And Jason can take a pretend hit, maybe not me so much. So we got our choreography down. I still remember it was actually a lot of fun, but it ends with Jason's character hitting my character over the head, and thus me over the head with a breakaway stunt bottle. They're made of like
sugar glass.
And I never got hit over the head with a sugar glass bottle before. it still hurts like getting hit over the head with a bottle, especially if you get hit in the temple. So Jason accidentally, I'm not trying to call you up.
No, go ahead.
When you get one, you get one take. It's not like we're shooting a film. It's a live performance. You get one take, and you're spinning around and entertaining people, and it's very busy, and people are laughing and whatever like that.
God.
And if you don't hit exactly the right spot, it hurts because it's a little more flesh than bone.
Yeah.
And I go down as I'm supposed to, and that's pretty much it. That was how we met. That was pretty much the extent of our connection. And everyone takes their bow. Everyone sings. We take a picture. Never see you again, kind of thing.
How did the glass shatter? Did it explode, or was it more like a slow burn?
I expected sorry for not giving you a chance to answer this, Jason, but I expected it to do that, to shatter. It was more like a clunk, clink.
Oh,
it was a little bit of a letdown. You would think like it would shatter
was.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But it was all right.
I seem to remember we recognizing that it was a undramatic moment when I got clunked in the head. So we both tried to make it more dramatic, like, more exciting, exactly.
Flow our arms around. Oh, you really hit me with this bottle.
Exactly. So we're gonna get to more on the story about the reality show and all that stuff in just a minute. But before we go to break, we're going to play an improv game because I want to get Jason warmed up here. We're talking about doing a little bit of improv with the bottle and with the fight and all that stuff. So part of reality shows is the non-reality that they are. And there's a constant adjustment. It's very interesting watching it happen because you think that a lot of these scenes are completely manufactured to replicate something that just happened that they didn't catch on camera, and they go, "Oh, that was really cool. Let's recreate that and try to make it natural all the time." Or they make up stuff that didn't happen at all that make it look like it's real, and it's quote reality unquote. What's cool is there's always a little bit better version of what something can be. So what I love is the idea of trying to think about what TV shows or movies can be. So we're going to play an improv game called What If? And the idea is it is a TV show pitch. So imagine we're talking to a Hollywood producer that's going to make a big network TV show. And in this case, we're going to do What If reality style.
Cool.
So the idea is that whatever someone pitches as an idea, you accept some of what they say, but there's always a way to make it just a little bit better. So as an example, pitch me something real quick, Daniel, just for illustration purposes.
All right. And I start with saying, what if, right?
Yeah, what if? Exactly.
Yeah. So what if there's a shark, but it swallowed this radioactive material and it's swimming in the Hudson River?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think?
Love it. Love the shark. Love radioactive material. Rivers are always funny.
Yeah.
But what if?
We
kept the radioactive material, but instead of a shark, it was Danny DeVito.
Oh, that's good.
So Danny DeVito's swimming down the Hudson, and he swallowed radioactive material. So to me, then we can bring Danny DeVito into, now it's a Danny DeVito reality show.
Right. And then what if, though?
Yeah.
What if there's Arnold Schwarzenegger plays the alien that the radioactive material comes from, and then you got the DeVito, the Schwarzenegger in the same film. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like a throwback.
It's like twins.
Yeah.
But in the Hudson River.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
We're going to make that
up.
Done. That's a truncated version of what we would play. So, how about I'll Daniel, why don't you start with the first pitch, and we'll just kind of go around the room
in a circle
until we've clearly identified the whoever decides and it can be anyone in the room decides we've come to the perfect reality show.
Okay.
All right. So we're pitching reality show. So why don't you start off, and we'll go to Jason, and then to Elsie, and then to me.
All right. Okay, you guys.
So this is What If.
Yeah. All I'm doing is thinking of actual reality shows that are out there. So I'm trying to create my own here. Okay. All right. What if you unleash 5 housewives in a Home Depot in aisle 9 with all the hammers. But here's the thing. They have silly putty on their feet. What do you think?
I think it's good, but I think we should maybe block off the aisles, making kind of like a Saw kind of theme where they have to play a game. Well, this game basically has things where they can possibly get mortally injured.
Ooh.
But in order to get out of this aisle, you're going to have to create some, get rid of some housewives. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. Except, in order for them to get out of there, they have to do knock jokes.
Ooh.
And, so, an example would be this, Mark. Knock.
Who's there?
Smell mop. Do it. You have to. You have
I'm not
to do
falling
it.
into that one.
Mark.
Please do
Knock,
it. I
knock.
want to know what this...
Who's there?
Smell mop.
I'm not doing it. Do it to Danielle. She'll play.
You're next in line. We play by the rules.
All right. One more time.
Mark. Knock.
Yes. Who's there?
Smell mop.
Smell mop who?
I'd rather not smell your poo. It's pungent and it's vile.
I knew
don't-
that was.
I'm not happy about this at all.
So that's what you do. You have to have the best knock joke to get out of the aisle with the hammer.
That's good.
You're welcome.
There's parts of that are really great, but that is actually really interesting. And I love the idea of telling jokes, and I love the idea of killing reality TV stars. So I think we should keep both of those things. But what if what we actually did is we brought in all of the past losers of Last Comic Standing, and we put them and made them tell knock jokes to each other. And every time they get started, we knock one of them off with a tank. So there's lots of big explosions. And what's great is you really never know which one is going to be. So you have like someone's confessional, and then instantly, boom, you kill them with a tank.
People like explosions.
Wow.
So what do you think, Danielle?
I'm almost there. I'm not quite satisfied though with that show because I'm missing the Home Depot thing.
Okay, so back to Home Depot.
She wants the Home
we need
Depot.
Home Depot.
No, like
You just want it to be your original idea.
no,
Sponsorships.
I love this. Okay, we got Last Comic Standing. We got people getting knocked out. We got knock jokes knocking left and right. But what if the way that you voted for the best knock joke? See, this is what I'm thinking. I'm like, what's the way that they'll be voted for the best knock joke? And maybe if we're bringing it full circle back to Home Depot, we get your random Home Depot paint worker coming in. Home Depot.
Well, Home Depot's a whole nother place, by the way.
Carl from Home Depot, he's the judge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you make it like salt to the earth people, and they get to be the judge of the knock joke. I think that's a good show.
And you knock with the hammers.
Yeah.
I think maybe we have it.
I think we have
think
it.
that's-
I'd watch this. And you know what? I have a lot of friends who did not win Last Comic Standing, so they'll be on it. I think they'll get excited for a second try.
I think it's good.
All right.
I'm just curious why nobody's getting married on this show. I think someone should be getting married.
Oh, the winners
you know
get
what?
married.
The winners get
No matter
married.
who they
The winner
are.
gets married.
That's it. We got the show.
To the Home Depot guy.
Oh,
To the
to
judge.
Carl.
To Carl. Poor Carl's looking for a wife.
Perfect. Okay, yes, done.
I think that's the name of the show. Carl's looking for a wife.
Boom.
That's the name of the
Done.
show.
Sponsored by none other than Home
producers,
Depot.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone
all
gets
right.
a free hammer. Wow.
Coming up, we're going to hear about Jason's story and why he's a wrestler, and also about being a firefighter. That's all right after this.
Connect with the show at Mouth Media Network or at our website, funnypeopletalkingshow.com. And please, for the love of all that is holy, subscribe to the show and leave us a damn review and a really, really good rating on iTunes. Pretty please? Thank you.
Okay, Jason, your time has come, my friend. It's time to find out all about you. So let's start. I'm going to let you pick. I'm going to let you pick which part of you we start with. There's the reality TV star, hence slash celebrity slash influencer. It's just true. It's just true. It may or may not be what you... And what I want to know real quick is this. When you decided to do this show, I'm not going to get into the questions you've asked me a billion times. Why did you do it? Blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about it just enough for context for the audience.
Of course.
But what I want to know is when you went into it, did where you are now, several seasons of a show, influencer, 100 and whatever thousand people following you on Instagram, endorsement offers to whatever degree you've taken them on and so forth. Is this part of the picture that you imagined at all in your head?
No. I mean, I look back on it and it's like one of those things where it's like, wow, I can't believe I did, did that. I can't believe I got married, but there was no like, they didn't even say the show was going to air initially.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
It's like you're doing a pilot sort of and you never know.
Yeah. And it was just one of those things where now it's very, saying commercialized and, people want to find love, there's a million dating shows out there. But this one, like at the time, this was kind of like the first of anything. They had like, again, like The Bachelor and all that stuff and where they get engaged. But this was something like you're making this commitment. And at first, again, I'll say this a million times and I've answered this a million times. I did not want to do it. I had no intention whatsoever of doing this. So it was one of those, when they called you up and they're like, hey, do you want to do this? I said no initially because I was like, this is silly. It was a point in my life where I just had no intention of doing it.
Have you seen this show at all, Daniel? Do you know the premise of it?
I have not watched it, but I know the premise.
So what's your
done
understanding of the
research.
premise of this?
I'm
I'm not testing you. This is my clever way of sharing with the audience in case they don't know by tossing it to you.
Right. Hi. So isn't it like doors open, you see the person, and then you get to say yay or nay as to whether you're getting married to them? Do you get to hear them speak?
Yeah. But
For how long?
Well,
See, okay, I'm not the best for this synopsis.
My recollection, I'm going to let you answer, but my recollection, Jason, because I actually haven't watched subsequent seasons. I only watched the first season.
Right.
And I only watched it because I met you guys. And I was like, I have to see what their story is and everything. And because it hadn't been on yet. Mm-hmm. And what I remember is you're going to meet someone and you're going to meet them. If you are one of the people selected to do the show, you're going to meet them essentially at the altar, for lack of a better way of putting it. And at that moment, you can make a decision if you actually say I do. And you're supposedly there to do it, but you don't see them or meet them until that moment.
Yes. And it's the most terrifying thing that you could ever imagine because you have no idea what's waiting out there. And plus, like I told you, this was the first of its kind. So I didn't know if I was going to be fixed up with my ex-girlfriend or somebody that I was completely, again, unattracted. I mean, like...
Someone's going to show up and go, hello.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a chain smoker. I'm like, like, what's going on? I didn't know. Again, it's television. So that also throws a monkey wrench in it. Maybe they want to see a crazy drama-filled thing where they fix you up with somebody that's, not very, mentally there. So it's like, it was nervous, to say the least.
So now you've been married almost 4.5 years now, or whatever it is, and you're you continue to tell the story by continuing to have seasons of after Married at First Sight or something like that, right?
Correct.
And is there more story to tell? Are you able to talk about it?
You know what? There's so much story. We've been through so much in 5 years, and it's almost like the fast track in the first. I would say the first year of marriage was unreal. It was unlike anything I could have ever imagined. It was not only you married to somebody, like now I'm not comparing myself to other people's relationships currently, people doing the show, but job changes, moving, family, again, just moving around, like meeting family, family, passing away. Like at that time, that first year of marriage was one of the toughest things I could ever have went through in my life. And
why is that? Talk about that.
Yeah, it was a little too much.
You mean because there's cameras in your face plus everything else that was happening? How much did the cameras help or hurt you?
Well, initially when we did the show, it was like I think I think it was 2.5 months or 3 months that they gave us, like, because the whole premise of the show is, you get married, and at the end of the show, you can either stay together or get a divorce. And, we chose to stay together.
Wow. Okay.
And at that time, I was job switching. I used to work as a FDNY EMT, and then I was becoming a firefighter. So becoming a firefighter, you have to go through the firefighter academy, which is pretty much
Not around.
Yeah, it's like you wake up at 5:30 in the morning and you get out at 6 o'clock at night, do the whole day over again, 5 days a week, and you're completely. It's legitimately boot camp.
My cousin's an LA firefighter, so I remember that moment in his life. So insane. Anyway.
Oh, and that alone is just like okay. And then Courtney at the time, she was like in between jobs, so that was a little bit rough. And then we're like, okay, well, what else is new? My mother, she had passed away at that time. We had moved to a different apartment, so we're in between moving.
Did your mother pass away after you met Courtney?
No, she had met Courtney. This is I don't think I've ever really spoken about this.
Are you comfortable talking about it? Okay, so your mother was alive while you did the show.
Yes.
And then she passed away while you were doing the show?
No, slightly after. And again, production was like, we like Courtney to meet your mom, but with all due respect, but they were very good. Okay. They never really tried to push anything, but I was dead set, no, because I don't want my mom I don't want to remember my mom, in that kind of fashion. I'll watch the show, 10 years from now and be like, oh, like that. Like, of course, it would have been nice to see her, but not at that capacity where she was, really, she had passed away from cancer. Mm-hmm. So when she passed away, it was like, at that time, I was like, when someone you care about a lot, you kind of just, not saying like you don't, it's not there, but it's coming, but kind of don't think about it. And then when it happens, it's like, oh, wow, it kind of hits you. And that's what happened to me. And with Courtney, she was there through me the entire time. And I think we had wrapped up the filming of the show. And I think maybe like 4 weeks, maybe like 3 weeks, 4 weeks after, my mother went to the hospital and her lung ended up collapsing. Mm. So I was like, if this is going to be the time for Courtney to meet her, this is the time. Because again, I was very protective of my mother because my mother was very protective of me growing up. And this is something where if there was going to be a moment where they met, it was going to be an intimate moment. And she knew that at that time, Courtney was going to, take care of me, like almost like passing the torch. But she sees that someone like is there for me where my mother was there for me my entire life. I feel like she'd be at peace. And that's exactly what happened. We were at the hospital and, they had a moment together and it was beautiful.
That's amazing. And you know what? I just saw your most recent Instagram post. I'm so excited for the month of January. Oh, yeah? Because your mom, she was an artist. And are those sketches or paintings or?
Yeah, she has like, I have like books and books and like,
wow,
paintings of all kinds of like different kind of arts. And actually on one, the show actually did help me out. We did like a whole because I wanted to do something special for her because they didn't have like the celebration, like the funeral that I kind of really wanted because of everything that was going on. So
what are we talking about here? What was the post about?
In January, I'm gonna basically on my Instagram, I'm gonna post every day a piece of her artwork leading to the 31st because basically January is like her month. It was her birthday month, so I wanted to do something special. Man. And again, get her art out there because that was something where she always told me that she had so much more to do, and if I could kind of give her art for people to see and eyes on it, I think that would be an amazing thing.
What a beautiful thing that this little dumb reality show, with all due respect, is in the scheme of humanity, as far as how much it matters in the scheme of the scope of humanity, is what I mean. It's brought you a wife that seems to be a life partner for you. It's giving you an opportunity, if you had to lose your mom, to give her more life in a way, to share her art in a way that she wasn't in a position to do. And it's also enabled you to have experiences that maybe you wouldn't have seen yourself have. I think that's amazing that something like that can happen. So let me ask you, are there things, I think people assume that when you're a TV star, reality or not, you're rich, you're famous, you travel everywhere, you have servants, I don't know, whatever. What I'm saying is what's What's the reality of being a reality star?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think it's everything. I think nowadays, even with social media, everyone wants to put out there what they want you to see. They don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Even in reality television, when the cameras are on, everyone's all happy and everything. What happens? They're off. Like even like the newest seasons, like everyone's like, oh, this person is so nice. Well, what happens 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks? Like when the cameras are off, when anybody on reality television for that matter, it's a matter of what you do when the cameras are off and what you do when the Instagram filters are off is what really matters. You know, how you treat people, how you make people feel. Like everyone nowadays, they'll put a picture up and they'll, you know, put an inspirational quote and say, I'm inspired people, but it's a lot more than that. What are you doing elsewhere to really, you know, make people, you know, feel? And like, that's like I was saying with my art, like with her art, I think people could, that's something that people can get an inspiration on. They can say, okay, well, maybe he's doing something for his mom, and God forbid somebody's mother passed away or mother's still alive. They can do something for their father, their mother, anything, that's great. Give back.
You're leveraging whatever degree of celebrity or influence that you have to really inspire people, which seems to be part of your ethos. Look at what you do for a living.
That's so true.
You entertain people as a wrestler.
Yeah, I guess you could.
I mean, maybe it's selfish. You're doing something you enjoy and it's fun. You get attention. But the truth is you are entertaining. Yeah. And then as a firefighter and as an EMT, your entire purpose in the world is to save people. Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, it's to then have influence and to use it yet again to give. It's very cool.
I think that's what life is all about. It's not what you can, you know, take. It's what you can give. And I don't have much to give. I don't have 1 million followers or anything like that. But whatever little I do have, I would like to, you know, like you said, give back or anything, because that's what life is all about.
How much do you work on that, Jason? Meaning, how much are you trying to make being an influencer a business? How you know, versus, hey, however far it goes, however much it is, however much it lasts, this is a moment, a blip in my life. Or is this now who you are? And it's a job that you must maintain and grow and nurture because it can be a larger source of revenue. I want to get to 1 million followers or whatever.
Honestly, I really don't think about it. I think about, like, I'm very conscious. I think most people are nowadays of what they put, you know, on the Instagrams and their social media. Obviously, with my job and just again, what I post, it's got to be thought about. I can't just be like, I'm just gonna post this if it's like a story or something stupid, whatever. Right. But and overall, I think it'd be nice to have that kind of following, but at the end of the day, who cares if you can't do anything with that? If I say, okay, 1 million followers tomorrow, and it's just, you know, fake followers or, you know, just people that just looking at your stuff, and what's the point if you can't, you know, again, like you said, leverage, I think is a big thing. And like a lot of celebrities, they leverage and they do things with different kinds of, charities and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, if I can do that, then that'd be awesome. Whatever little I do have.
Interesting. Now, let's talk about another part of your life. We talked about firefighting a little bit, and we talked about being a reality star and a married guy. But what about being a wrestler? What is that all about? So, do you have a wrestling name, an alias?
It's just my basically my surname right now, Jason Carrion. But I'll say Jason, keep calm and carry on. That's like my little shtick. Yeah. That's my little shtick.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
So, what is your wrestling persona like?
It's the complete opposite of me. It's basically the not humble, the not giving back, the very selfish, a reality television star in that everyone believes reality TV stars are really like.
Whoa.
The ones that want the 1 million followers, that's the kind of character that kind of base it off of.
Are you Are you one of the evil people within the world of wrestling?
I would say one of the bad guys.
Okay.
Yeah. The heels. I'm going to teach you guys a little wrestling lingo.
Yeah.
Heels.
Are you one of the heels in the wrestling world?
Being a heel is more fun.
Okay.
Of course,
okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Are you now, I will tell you, there was a time in college, without making this about my story, where a friend of mine and I staged about 30 fake fights in one night. Had a little bit too much to drink, but we decided that all the other resident advisors deserved a little show, so we did one in front of each of their doors. By the end of the night, you can't help but be a little beat up after 30 fake fights. So how has I want to avoid taking the magic and mystery out of a little bit here of what you do, but there's a certain amount of strategy and choreography and clearly stamina and physicality that goes into
absolutely.
being able to execute what you do. You're listening to this now, but I must tell you, it's very evident that Jason's in tremendous physical shape, and I know you work hard at it. No, it's true. It's just obvious looking at you that you fell off the healthy truck. So, but my question is, how does having fun with wrestling and whatever income that brings you or opportunities that brings you impact your ability to effectively carry out your duties as a firefighter because of exhaustion or injury or any of those things? How do you balance those two things to make sure you serve both?
It's a little difficult at times, but my schedule being a firefighter, sometimes it works to my advantage because we don't work 5 days a week. If I worked 5 days a week as a firefighter and then on weekends I'd wrestle, I'd be completely destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll do different kinds of thing called mutuals where we'll work maybe 3-4 times a week, and then I can be able to wrestle on the weekends, heal up for 1 or 2 days, and then, go back at it.
Wow.
What's been the most
crazy.
Poignant moment as a firefighter you've had that made you go, this is freaking why I do this?
The most poignant. There's been a couple of fires, like real bad fires, because I work right across the street from One World Trade. That's where my firehouse is.
Oh, gotcha. Wow.
And over there, obviously, there's like all high-rise buildings. And just walking out, of our firehouse, we get the beautiful view of One World Trade. And it's like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And just being at, some of these fires that are just like, you go in there and I never forget. I forget where it was, but it was somewhere. I want to say like East Broadway, but we had a fire and I had like the nozzle position where the nozzle position is like right in front of like the hose line, and I'm putting out this fire and I'm like, I could feel the heat on me and I'm like, this is awesome. And you could see it slowly going. First it wasn't going out. I'm like, and I'm like, back out a little bit. Then we start hitting it and I'm like, wow, this is why I'm doing this. And then we put it out, and that walking out and you completely like, charred and your face, you're black as, from the smoke and everything. It's like, wow, it feels great. It's accomplishing something. Yeah.
Truly.
And also breaking a door was pretty fun too when you break a door with a Halligan.
Yeah, that's
not gonna lie.
That's
The destruction of a fireman, basically.
Sure.
Wow. Do you have a sickle?
A sickle?
Yeah. To break windows in?
Well, we break the windows with the Halligan.
That's what that's called.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, sickles for wheat, my dear.
Oh. No, I guess I'm thinking of a curved hammer, and I just decided to nickname it a sickle.
I like it.
Okay, it's all right.
I saw when my first week in New York, there was a fire in the building right next door to me, and there were firemen. I was on the 4th floor, and they were right across the way from me, and I was watching them hammer in the window.
Is that a sickle?
Yeah, I'm like, is that a sickle?
Got weed over there.
It's pretty cool. What you got going on?
Wow. Are there firefighters in your station that were firefighters during 9/11?
Yes, we have a couple.
So I'm wondering if you don't know about this, maybe you'll ask them about it. So Elsie and I have a friend who, weirdly, her last name is Kardashian. And but she's not part of those Kardashians. We call her the good Kardashian. But long story short, and I can fill you in another time, but when 9/11 happened, she had a restaurant in California, and she decided to leave her restaurant, come to New York on her own dime. Sorry, there's an important part of this question, this that I forgot. She had been helping military people out in California for a long time and supporting them in the community and giving free meals to them and all that stuff. She was honored the month before 9/11 at the Pentagon with her highest civilian honor, then went to the World Trade Center and visited there, then came back to California. So she just freshly had both of those experiences. And then this happened. So she went to New York, and she spent the next, I think, year, Elsie, something like that.
Couple of years.
She
sold a restaurant.
Sold a restaurant, used the entirety of her savings, and on her own dime, cooked for and fed more than 100 firehouses.
Oh.
And so, and then when she ran out of money, she said goodbye.
No, you're wrong.
I'm wrong? Okay.
she got a job as a manager at Olive Garden to get more money.
Yes, that's right. And
in
then
her
kept doing
spare
it.
time.
Kept doing
Oh,
it.
wow.
Eventually, she left, went
And
back
gave
to
that
California, and started a new life as a flight attendant for JetBlue. And she's an amazing person who has like 10,000 personal contacts because she's a magnetic person who helps people. Okay. So what we found out when we talked with her about this was, okay, so you've done all this in your life. You clearly deserve to have things given to you. You've earned it. So if right now you had money was no object and you could do anything, what would you do? This was a magical moment for me. She said, what I would do is I would buy an RV and I would take all the memorabilia that I have that all the firefighters gave me and the stories they told me and everything that they've accumulated from that time that they gave me. There's stories that she knows that are not public, that are very deep, intense stories from that period that she's aware of. And she would create a mobile museum and go around the country from city to city to share the memorabilia and the stories to people to keep the memories of those firefighters alive for years to come. That's what she would do for the rest of her life if she had unlimited money. That's an American hero to me. In addition to the things that you do, but here's someone that gave up everything, gave up 2 years of her life just to try to help the people who helped other people in a way that she could. And so on the previous version of this podcast called Monkey Radio with Marc, we made her our very first Monkey Radio American of the Year, whatever that is. But it was some way we could give her some substantive honor. That was our way to thank her and congratulate. She's an extraordinary person. So go back to your firehouse, Jason, and ask the guys that were around on 9/11 if they remember this person.
Yeah.
If maybe they were one of the firehouses that she had served.
Absolutely.
Does she have a nickname or something?
I don't.
Just a regular name?
Yeah. Her name is Angie Kardashian.
I didn't know the first name. Angie.
Yeah, Angie.
Cool.
So I had to take the opportunity when I found out that you do work with some guys from 9/11 that give you something you could take back to them, and how wonderful it would be for that to be a little full circle thing.
Of course.
All right, last question for you before we move on with the show, and that is, it's the end of your life. Sorry, it's the end of your life, and you've been given the opportunity to decide how the world remembers you. What's on your tombstone? What the tales that are told about you? The way you're thought of in song, whatever it is. What does that need to be?
Well, even on the subject of reality, I want to be remembered as the person that, gave back to many people, and also too is the realest person. Never sugarcoated anything, was always real. He put the real in reality.
That's a good tombstone.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good night. That's great, man. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I got to tell Jason my engagement story just because I think he'll appreciate it as someone who got married to someone when he met her. And then I want to hear about Elsie's cat. And then it's time for end of show food.
Yum, yum.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hello world, I'm George Manley, the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Solar. I have a background in broadcast journalism, I've traveled the world, and I love to write. But more than any of that, I love to have great conversations with interesting people, and I love to learn their stories. I am so thrilled to be working with really interesting people in the social commerce space as a result of this show. Solar is a place where brands and influencers create content to share with their consumer public. Each week, I'll be presenting a story from an interesting person in this space, and the goal is to learn something more about how this industry is evolving. The goal is to learn something more about the creatives behind the creator-influencer space. And the goal is to celebrate the community that is quickly forming on Solar.com. I hope you'll enjoy this show. I hope you'll enjoy our conversations. I hope you'll give us feedback. And if your story is interesting enough, I hope you'll join us on another Solar Story, the art and business of influence. Solar Stories is presented by Solar Inc., and you can find more episodes of Solar Stories and learn more about solar at solar.com.
It's the kind of itch that you can't scratch. But there's always room for a good ointment. This is Funny People Talking.
All right, Jason, real quick, I got to fill you in just because I've never told this story on the show. So about 9 or 10 months ago, I got engaged to my fiance, Heather.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And but we actually had already been together almost 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And what I knew that I finally had said, all right, we're going to do it. And she never nagged me about it. Never, but she was not the kind of person who was like, oh, look at the rings in the window, or let's look, I'm looking at bridal magazines. Never a hint. It wasn't something we talked about all the time. It was just in my mind. This is just me talking. I'm not giving her the opportunity to voice anything, but it was, I guess maybe just understood this would happen eventually, but everyone was patient about it or whatever. But I knew it was time. And so for a long time, I'd kind of planned this. I wanted to plan the perfect thing. We have on our bucket list, we want to see the Northern Lights. It's one of the things that we definitely will make sure that we do. We just haven't been able to yet. So her birthday had come around in January, and I'd asked her to put a day aside for me to give her kind of a day of fun, a day for Heather. And so she did. I said, all I want you to do is just be ready, and I want you to look cute. I want you to dress and look cute, because I knew we were going to take pictures, because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But she didn't know, and I just didn't want her to go like, if you had just told me,
Yeah.
I would have dressed
Wardrobe
better.
is so important,
I
Mark.
know.
Way to
So
go.
It was the least I could do. So
Yeah.
not to make myself a hero, and just saying
No,
I was
you nailed it.
trying to be thoughtful. So she didn't know anything was going to happen. I said, just be ready by this time. So then I said, okay, I'm going to leave now. And she's like, wait, what? We're not going together? No. Instructions will come, because I knew I needed to be somewhere ahead of her. She's like, oh, but she was very cool about it. So then I texted her, okay, in 10 minutes, a car is going to come to pick you up. And then don't ask the driver. They're not supposed to tell you anything. So the driver took her to the love capital of the world, Newark, New Jersey.
Oh,
Heard about that
my
place.
God.
And unfortunately, the driver was so efficient, they actually got there like too early. And so I had quickly arranged for her to have breakfast in a diner nearby to where she was going, and arranged for everything. Breakfast was ordered and paid for, and she just walks in, tells them her name, and they treat her nice and all that. And I said, send me a picture of you at your breakfast. So she did. And then I'm sure she was wondering why I said, when you walk over to the next place, I want you to film yourself so that you can remember it. And so she had to walk over to the museum, the Newark Museum, and ask for an envelope in her name. And when she did that, then someone would know to come down and get her. So someone did. When she got there, the security guard was like between shifts or something. He didn't know about it and wouldn't let her in. So eventually now at the Newark Museum, there is a planetarium, a small planetarium. And it just so happens that they have a Northern Lights show, which is very actually hard to find in the Northeast. I found.
That's why you had to go to Newark.
Had to go to the love capital.
Yeah.
So, trying to make a very long story as short as possible, she's escorted into a small planetarium. It's a show for one. So it's like, where's Marc? I thought he was going to be here, but he's not. So she comes and sits down. Now, I've planted hidden cameras to capture all this, and I'm standing behind a door that she can't see me, but I can see her. I'm monitoring her. And she walks in, sits down, and then he goes, okay, here we go. And the lights go down, and then this Northern Lights show starts going on. And then at a certain point, she starts hearing music go along with it. Now, she's a musician, and she's written a number of very cool songs, and a couple of them, one's called Bright Star, and one's called I've Decided. So what I had arranged is a composer of mine, so Bright Star like planetarium, I've decided as in I had decided. And so I arranged for the musical themes that she had written for those songs to be woven into an original orchestral composition from an incredible composer that I know. And this 8.5-minute show of the Northern Lights was synced to this music that he had woven in her musical themes into it. So she's sitting there watching this show like, why am I here by myself? But this is cool. Thank you very much. Oh, Northern Lights. Okay, we want to see Northern Lights. It's cool. And also she started to hear like these notes from her. She's like, wait a minute. What the hell? Like, what's going on? And then, wait, that's another one of my songs. What the hell? So then it's over. And it's cool because the music kind of ends with this big crescendo, this big drum roll. Boom, lights come up. I'm shaking a little. I walk out. She looks at me and she's like, hey. And I walk out and I'm like, did you notice the music? Yeah, I was wondering about that. That was really cool. I'm like, well, that's for you. You know, this is all for you. And you're my bright star and I've decided. And then I did the whole get down on your knee thing. And as soon as I started getting emotional, was talking to her, she said later, that's kind of when she knew that something was about to happen.
Yeah.
And very happily, I'm glad to say she said yes. And then we sat down and it was a lovely moment. And we watched the show together because I actually had not seen it. We got to see it together and hear the music. And then we walked around the museum a little bit. She loves museums and it was really actually a very cool museum. And then we decided to go to the city. We were going to go get a car and go to the city and celebrate. So we go to this little tapas place and I position her just so her back is to the door. And then all of a sudden she notices someone next to her and she looks and she goes, oh my God, it's my brother and his girlfriend, who I knew were coming into town that weekend, but she didn't know and they didn't know I was proposing. So both sides of this get this like, oh my God kind of moment. And it was wonderful because I get to celebrate it with people.
Did you orchestrate the brother thing?
He was actually coming to town anyway.
Wow.
Totally coincidentally. So then everyone's like, well, let's get a table. We can go get a table. I'm like, no, this is good right here for a while. We're good. Because I had another surprise in store. Of course
you did.
Of course. And then all of a sudden,
Casanova
she hears, I don't know about that, but everything worked out well. It was a nice day. So all of a sudden, Heather hears this music next to her and she's like, what? And she turns and it's our friend, Lucy Kalantari, who's actually been on Monkey Radio also. And Heather hears this ukulele and she turns, she goes, oh my God, it's Lucy. And Lucy's playing our favorite song of hers because she came from a Grammy luncheon and came over to do this for us. Walks in, plays our favorite song, serenades Heather in front of the entire restaurant. Now the restaurant it's quiet as a pin drop except for the ukulele and her singing. Everybody in the restaurant's watching it. Dude, it's like a movie moment. Okay, seriously, everyone's eyes. The bartender is sitting there like wiping tears from his eyes. He's just beaming, and that finishes. And it was just an incredible moment. We got it on video. Then the bartender comes over to us, and this was the cherry on top. He comes over to us, and he brings us champagne, and it was very nice on the house. And he says, "Listen, I want to tell you, I had just been getting so cynical about people and about the city. I was just kind of ready to give up on it all. And then you see a moment like this and it just restored my faith in love and people. And that just felt so great that what we had that was a monumentally important moment for us had some way of touching another human being that was unrelated to us. And it was something maybe even they'll talk about. And we spent the rest of the day. We went to like Little Italy, had an amazing Italian meal, and just spent a great day. So that was the engagement story. That was the complete opposite of showing up and meeting your bride at that moment. Because side note, my lovely now fiance tells me afterwards. She says, "Oh, by the way, in about 2 weeks, I was planning on proposing because I think I'd waited long enough."
Wow.
good for her. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
good, you know,
that's
I'm like,
great.
whew, right under the wire.
Oh, wow.
But
Did it go as his plan though? Did you feel like
I feel that for almost every part of it, it went as planned. I would have liked if I had gotten through my little speech maybe without choking up as much.
right?
Yeah, you can't. You
But
can't.
I just wasn't
plan
able
that.
to do it. But as far as every other part, no. I mean, all the surprises, nothing got leaked. I don't know how she
awesome.
didn't figure out this was happening, to be honest with you. So I would have been suspicious as hell. So, but it worked out. So anyway, we're getting married in May, and
Wow,
that's
I
the whole
love
story.
that,
I just had to
Mark.
share it. I had to
It's
tell.
beautiful.
You don't get a chance to tell these things very often to like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So share it. Thanks for hearing my
that's awesome.
our story.
Newark is the luckiest place.
I'll tell you.
Love capital of the world.
Slight epilogue. So we're very private. We don't like put on social media about our relationship.
I don't either
We
with
we
my
don't-
relationship.
Yeah, it doesn't say
Same.
you're with so and so.
Yeah.
We don't post, schmoopy stuff on.
I don't do schmoopy.
right.
Yeah.
Not a big schmoopy person.
And I don't have anything against that. It's just not what our style is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
But so we actually hadn't told really anybody except the closest people to us. We didn't announce it on Facebook or anything like that. So we got engaged at the end of January, and the museum reached out to us and said, on Valentine's Day, we're going to be doing a little Valentine's message. Could we post about you getting engaged in our planetarium? We were like, you know what? Sure. What a lovely way to tell everybody that doesn't seem like us just tuning our own horn. So they did that, and then we just posted their post, and that was the way we told everyone.
That's
so
cool.
That's so cool.
I love that. So that was our little reality TV moment there, or
I like
whatever.
it.
Chase.
I love that.
Thank you.
That is beautiful for sure.
Thank you. All right. So
I may have cried a little bit.
okay. Thank you, Danielle.
You're welcome.
Okay, a complete and total. Speaking of airplanes,
Am I right, ladies?
Yes, exactly. I do. Before we get to end of show food, I really feel the need. Elsie has been sitting there so quiet and just sort of patiently allowing me to tell a little story here. But
It's
I really,
it's all good.
I want to circle back on your cat None of Your Business. It's been a long time since we've talked about None of Your Business. And
Yeah.
I want to see what's going on with your cat. So for those who don't know about None of Your Business, can you tell us a little, just refresh us on what None of Your Business is like? What is None of Your Business? How does None of Your Business spend his time?
It's a male cat.
yeah.
Okay.
He's a cat.
He's a tuxedo cat, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a tuxedo cat. And he's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is he?
Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does he do? How does he spend his time? Is it regular cat stuff?
Yeah. Being a cat. He's
Yeah.
cool.
Does he like the sun?
When he's in the window, yeah.
How's
At night he goes out.
He goes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
He comes back.
what does he do when he's out?
You know what he does out.
I
We
know,
made
but,
we made a film about it.
I know.
He's a sax player.
See, this is what I was wondering. He plays the sax.
He
Wow.
does, yeah.
Why do you make me pull it out of you like this, Elsie? I'm
Because-
setting you up.
I don't know.
What do you? What
I'm
do
a
you?
producer. I'm not supposed to even be talking or anything. I'm just
You know
supposed
what
to
she
sit
is?
here and make
She
sure
is-
you behave.
She's right. She's actually right, Mark.
Okay,
She's
Danielle.
right.
I just make sure.
Wait,
you
now-
How's your last show going?
There it is. Would none of your business enjoy a salsa class?
I don't know.
Are
he
you
dances.
No, I'm talking about chop salsa.
That's good. It was good.
Talking about cilantro.
Call back. That was
Thank
a good
you.
call back.
Yeah.
What do you ever feed None of Your Business human food?
I tried to grow an herb garden once and he ate it before it got very far.
See, herbs, cilantro, none of your business, and I would get along.
This is not about you, Danielle. So
I
Elsie,
love the cat already. I love the cat.
Yeah.
how would you? What has the cat brought you in your life as far as joy or misery or both?
He doesn't bring any misery
Okay. How does he bring you joy?
because he's my cat.
Just back to the basics. I love
I
it.
think we should just go to end of show food and
Okay.
stop. I mean, it is none of your business, and he's named that for a reason.
Ooh.
Hey, Elsie,
Yeah.
Knock, knock. Okay, so that means, okay, the knocking means one thing, and it means it's time for end of show food. That's right, end of show food. It means it's going to be the end of the show, but first, we get a chance to find out what Elsie has brought all of us to try, experiment, and evaluate. So
Yeah.
what do you bring today?
Where's the, do you have the napkins or paper towels or something?
You're the producer. Why don't you have
No,
them?
that was your job.
They're back there on the.
All right. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll get stuff.
Okay. So just to let you know, Jason, on the show, every show ends with Elsie and her resourcefulness bringing us something that it's very likely none of us have ever tried. And sometimes it's weird and sometimes it's just fun. So, and then afterwards, what we'll be doing is we will be rating the food based on a scale of chickens, meaning how many chickens.
But there's a rule you're forgetting. You don't get to just eat it when you want. Everyone does it on the count of 3.
Okay. What
very
Elsie said.
important rule.
So the thing about the chickens is you can decide how large the scale is.
Okay.
Be out of 10 chickens, out of 1,000 chickens, whatever you want.
Da 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 da.
So today we have McClure's pickles, sweet and spicy, like me.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So everyone's going to get some.
All right. So now, just to describe, this is a large jar of pickles.
Hold
it's
up.
not just pickles in it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So it's not just pickles. It looks like there's peppers and onions or something in there too. It looks very spicy. Very spicy.
Okay, we're
smells like
smelling.
pickles.
Okay.
Very- oh, it's
Ooh, delicious.
Describe the smell, Danielle.
I'm jonesing for a pickle now.
Are you?
Yeah, it smells like
I might need to.
there's almost like a sauerkraut thing going on, and it brought me right back to 5-year-old Danielle at a Padres game with her dad, because I grew up going to baseball games, and that's where that took me.
Oh,
Isn't that cool?
Look what you did for her, Elsie.
Look what you
That's
did.
nice. Gave her a child memory back. So
Without this pickle, I don't think I would ever remember that again.
well, there you go. So now, just to give you the listener a sense, these are Elsie's going around with a big beer mug filled with pickles and giving them to each of us. And they smell very dill pickly a little bit, but with a bit of a sting in the smell from the spice.
Yeah, and Jason, how many did you get?
I took 3
You
because
took
I already
3.
know I'm going to like them.
I have 3
I can already
adults
rate
and
them.
1 baby.
Oh, I only took 1, guys.
Well,
It's okay.
there's
It's
more.
There's
okay.
a whole jar.
Okay, I'm not going to eat it until Elsie says.
Okay, Elsie, we're waiting on you.
All right.
This is a podcast that relies on sound.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops, I just dropped an onion. 1, 2, 3. Manja.
All right. Is it good? Is this going to sneak up on us?
Oh, this is.
I don't find this very spicy.
Wait for it.
Well,
I like the kick. Nice
Yeah,
little kick.
it comes
Oh,
at
yeah.
the end.
we'll kick her.
Oh,
I
that's
need
good.
the kick.
Ooh.
Ooh,
I'm a big kick guy.
I have a
Yeah?
feeling
Big hot sauce guy.
you are? Okay.
Huge.
if I had some beer with
Huge.
this could be dangerous, and I could eat a lot of these.
Oh,
Pickle
how
back
delicious.
shots.
Do you know what these pickles are? These are the pregnant woman craving pickle with like, the like,
With ice cream?
Yeah, the ice cream thing, the pickle thing, the thing.
Pistachio
That's what
ice cream
this
with
is.
pickles.
I love this.
Get a little chocolate ice cream.
All right, so Danielle, how many chickens do you give this? These were good. I like
yeah. I'll
these.
probably
Not to sway your vote. Sorry.
No, I'll probably give this I'll say like 89 out of 100 chickens.
Okay, 89 out of 100.
Yeah.
What about you, Jason? How many chickens?
How many chickens? I really like these pickles. I thought they were quite nice. A little bit of a kick. Not too bitter. I would
Yeah.
give it 9.3 chickens
9.3
Nine?
out of 10.
out of 10.
Oh, right.
Out of 10 cluckers.
Elsie, how many chickens do you give this?
I'd give it 72 out of 72.
Woo.
Wow.
I like them.
All right, I'm going to give this a 4 14.9 out of 15 chickens.
Wow.
Right there.
The 0.1 deduction is because I only had 3.5 of them. And
I didn't have a
more.
pepper. That's why I didn't.
Yeah, no peppers. So
Yeah, we have to get more
peppers.
all right,
have
so
to get deeply into that.
Sadly, by the signal of end of show food, this is actually the end of this episode, which I frankly feel like we could have gone another hour.
We
so
could have.
Really enjoyed having you on the show, Jason. Thank you very much. How can people connect with you, by the way?
They can connect with me on my Instagram, BKLYNBAD, or Twitter at KR0SS.
All right. Please give Jason a shout. Let him know you heard about him on the show. That's it for this episode of Funny People Talking. Thank you so much, Jason. It was a real blast
thank you,
to
Jason.
My pleasure.
go down memory lane with you a little bit and find out what's going on. Thank you very much, Elsie,
You're
for
welcome.
everything and for end of show food. What's that?
Knock, knock.
Someone's
Oh,
knocking.
nobody's home. Nobody's home. We're going away. And thank you, Danielle, as always.
Oh, yeah. This was a blast. We're all going to leave here with great breath.
I know. Woohoo! We'll go over and breathe on you right now. And thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate it. And we'll look forward to having you back next week for another fun-filled episode of Funny People Talking. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Traveling at more than 1,000 miles an hour, because that's how fast the Earth rotates. So, admittedly, we're all going that speed, but it's still very, very fast. And this is Funny People Talking. This has been Funny People Talking, a production of Mouth Media Network, copyright 2019. No portion of the content may be reproduced or published without the strict written permission of the producers. Connect with our show at Mouth Media Network or at our website, funnypeopletalking.com. I'm your announcer, Peter Coleman. Thanks for listening.